Hello and welcome to Four Eyes and the Giants Presents Weekend Reviews. This is the offshoot videos we're doing where we can't do a full podcast, so we're going to bring you all of our thoughts on the new releases every week. This time we're doing Candyman. I'm Cameron, and Jordy Steele is going to tell you all about the movie.
Directed by DaCosta, who is about to begin production on Marvel's The Marvels, and written by Jordan Peele of Us and Get Out, Wynn Rosenfield, who was a writer on Twilight Zone and an executive producer on BlacKkKlansman, and DaCosta. Candyman is a direct sequel to the 1992 slash horror, also called Candyman, and follows Yahya Abdul-Mateen II as Anthony McCoy, a Chicago-based artist struggling to find his next big project, until he discovers and eventually becomes obsessed with the legend of the Candyman.
Helen and I was out here looking for Candyman. You ask me, I say she found him.
What's Candyman?
For me, Candyman was a guy named Sherman Fields. He had a hook for a hand. Neighborhood character used to stand out there and hand out sweets to us when I was a kid. One October, a razor blade shows up in a little white girl's Halloween candy. And one day, I saw him myself. He'd been hiding in the walls.
It adapts the cliche dead man looking for revenge concept from the 80s, 90s horror genre to this urban myth concept connected through cases of racial injustice. Candyman is now less the spectral murderer and now the name the Black community give to the bodies of government acting against them through racial bias and gentrification.
For sure. And it follows, I think the plot kind of follows directly on from the original. Like it's not just a I think some people will be marking it as a spiritual sequel. This is a direct sequel. This is a proper sequel to the original movie. They're in true reboot fashion. They sort of follow the same kind of plot line. I know if you've seen the original movie, you kind of know what's going to happen here, I guess. And
right.
But they also sort of I also thought was interesting was that they kind of also kind of expect you not to have seen it in a way as well, which I thought was interesting because they use one of the plot of the movie as a reveal, like that was a sort of mystery, like you didn't know about like the sort of twist, or whatever, and they recounted the movie. They recount the movie in different ways. It's very odd.
Yeah, I will say, having not seen it, that didn't stop me enjoying it, because it does a very good job of basically explaining the first film. Although it does it in twisty ways.
Yes.
Which we won't get into. And this film, it's a horror, but like it's not that. It's scary maybe at the beginning, but once you've seen the monster, it's not scary. It's one of those situations.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think the first one was scary either, and I think it's not a horror, it's a slasher horror. So it's in the same vein of stuff like Friday the 13th in a way. It's more of a gore fest than it is. It's the sort of like guy
Halloween,
it's the sort of guy coming to chase you, and the actual slashing and killing of someone than it is, and that's kind of the horror, the kind of horrific elements. But this one adds body horror into the mix as well, which is honestly gruesome. This is the transformation that Yahya goes through during this movie is horrifying to look at. It is some of the best prosthetic works I've ever seen in like a modern movie. It is. I couldn't look at it. Sometimes I had to look away. I was basically hiding in Jordy's shoulder for most of it. To be fair,
it was horrible. It was very gruesome. A lot of the stuff that happens. This film has the way it's very clever with its use of mirrors and mirrors as a concept. I was very confused for the first few minutes because for the opening sort of I always forget what you call them, but like the credits of the studios, they were all flipped, and it took me a while to be like, that's mirror, it's just mirrors. And you were like,
I was
yeah,
that
well
was
done.
smart. As soon as I was like, oh, that's smart, and you're just going, is it broken? Do I need to go and tell someone? Is it?
And then for the actual opening credits, it's like it was very strange, but like very nice to look at, and it reminded me a lot of Blade Runner for some reason. Probably the amount of fog, but it's all set like it's like you're looking through the reflection of a car bonnet or hood. So you're looking at like towers upside down, disappearing into the mist and fog, and it was very, very cool, and I dug it. And then also just in the way that for the set pieces in which the Candyman is there, the way they shoot him with mirrors is very cool, and they like to keep still on frames or on shots, which is really nice. So it's not cutting about during action scenes.
I did wish we saw more of them though, in terms of actual sort of killings, I guess, if that makes sense. I kind of maybe slightly sick on my part, but I wish there was more actual gruesome murder in a way. Like, it felt quite light on like obviously we talked about like the stuff in his arm, and that was quite gruesome, but there wasn't any actual like killings. Like, they seemed to be very DaCosta seemed to be quite not wanting to sort of show the killings, which I guess is it's a choice, I guess, for modern times. But I guess, and if this came out in the 90s like it did, you see a lot of it in the original movie. Like, there's a lot of gruesome in that way. There's a lot of slashing and slashing and slashing. Maybe it would have cheapened it though, I don't know.
It focuses a lot on the character of Anthony and his sort of transformation throughout this film. It could have focused more on the Candyman. It could have focused more on Coleman Domingo's character, because he's present at milestones in the film. So like halfway through and then the end. And I wish he was there like throughout, so we could just got to know his character better. And also, is Coleman
Domingo an actor? Who's Coleman Domingo?
Coleman Domingo. He was in Zola and Walking Dead.
Yes,
Fear the Walking Dead.
Sorry, yes, got him.
Abagunde Adewale, or whatever his name is. Teyonah Parris. Teyonah Parris is in this film, and she's brilliant. But also, she could have been focused on a lot more, and her subplot that's going on could have been focused on a lot more. Because
they focus on her a lot towards the end, and I thought that was you don't get the payoff that I think the film wanted in the end, where she becomes sort of main character for the last 10-15 minutes, even though she's not a major part of the movie in terms of like trying to find things out, I guess.
They imply there's a sort of connection between her past and what's going on, but I feel like they could have they could have focused on properly and maybe actually explain something so everything sort of connects. I felt this film sort of fumbled at the end. I don't know about it felt sort of, well, can't say anything, but like it felt not rushed, but it felt like there could have been a lot more leading up to it to make it more effective.
It needed another 10-15 minutes, I thought. I think that's kind of I think you're right. Rushed isn't the right word. I think it almost feels like there was stuff left on the cutting room floor that shouldn't have been cut. Like it felt like there was. You sort of go, oh, like, is that it? We're over. It's done now, and there's no real payoff for anything. It just sort of finishes which is a shame, because the movie up to that point is really, really good, and it's one of my favorite. At that point, it was one of my favorites of the year. But it just sort of slipped slightly, and I think that was a real shame, because the ending was sort of fumbled. What did you think of Candyman? You can let us know in the comments below on Facebook or on YouTube. You can tweet us at Ohio Films, or you can find me on Twitter at CamsOG. You can find Jordy on Twitter at BillJordySteele. Please remember to like and subscribe this to the YouTube channel. We will see you in our other reviews. I think up right now we've got Our Ladies as well, so you can go and check that out. But yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.